Hi guys, my name is KP Bal, and as some of you guys know me, I'm a doctor in Australia and I'm also a clinical tutor. A lot of you guys, I just want to start off by saying thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel and the kind words that you guys have shared on my channel, and also for all the questions out there. It really get lets me know what you guys are thinking and what you guys are looking for, and helps me also make video content that could help you. So thank you again for liking and subscribing, and thank you for all the kind words. It really does mean a lot. Now, before I start, I just want to give you a quick brief about what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about the MCQ exams. Now, uh, I had a gentleman who a candidate that is wanted to know how to start how to start and how to start studying for the exam and how to prepare for the exam. And I just like to point out that thank you for the question. And also, I've been getting recent questions, similar questions like that from a lot of people. So I thought, hey, I'll make a video. And this was a promise I made to you guys, and I like to keep that promise. So, MCQ exam. Bit about myself. I did the MCQ exam and I came to the standard pathway. So I'm obviously an IMG. I did my medicine in India. I finished my internship and I decided to come and work in Australia. I did do an exchange program in Australia, so I kind of knew how it is to work here. So I quite loved it, and I said, "Hey, let's do the exams." So MCQ exam. So before we do start, in my previous video about practicing in Australia, I did talk about how to get registered for the exam so you can take the MCQ and the clinical, or even just come work here and start your work-based assessment. And I talk about different pathways in that exam, but I'm just going to quickly touch base with that here. And then, if for more details, do check out my video called "Practice in Australia" on my YouTube channel. All right. So here, first and foremost, make sure your college is recognized by the World Directory of Medical Schools, and then register with the AMC portal, get your primary verifications done, and get an AMC ID. And then last but not least, also get enroll with the EPIC, which is a third-party organization, and then you can sit for your exams. And it's best done when you're in your home country because there are a couple of documents that you'll need it from your college. So the next step would be the exam. So this is where I come in, and this video would come in. So we're talking about the MCQ exams. That's the part one of the AMC exams. Okay. So before we start, let's talk about the pathways. Now, I've talked about the pathways in my previous video again, so do check it out. So today, what we're going to focus is on the standard pathway. So standard pathway is where you have to do the MCQ exam. So there's two parts. One is MCQ, then you do the clinical exam, or you could do the MCQ and go for work-based assessment. All right. So I've just given a flow chart as what a standard pathway is. And again, you can find this online, or you can find this on my presentation that I'll be putting up on my Facebook group, which is the KP Barlin group. Do check it out. All right. So before we continue, let's talk a bit about the standard pathway. So standard pathway, you have to do the MCQ exam if you're coming to the standard pathway. So for the standard pathway, the MCQ exam, how do you begin? Where do I start? Like, what do I do? So, well, first and foremost, the AMC suggests you to get the handbook, which is the MCQ handbook, and the annotated multiple choice questions book as well. I totally agree. Now, the thing about this book is that there are MCQs in there. Familiarize yourself with MCQs because they do repeat in your actual exam. But it's actually the small section in the back of your book where they give you a description as to why each choice is the right or the wrong answer. And that is very important. And you make sure you pay attention to that, because what they do is they take questions out of that and give it to you in your exam. All right. So when you're reviewing just before the exam, make sure you go through that part of the book. And it's very important. And then you have the clinical exam, which I've talked about in my next another video. So do check it out if you're keen about the clinical exams. So, essentials for the MCQ exam. Study material that you require are your handbook that I mentioned earlier. You need the annotated multiple choice questions as well. Then you have the John Murtaugh textbook for reference. Again, you do not need to read the entire textbook. You just use it for reference. And then you have online guidelines. I have another video where I made a video where I talk about where can you find these online guidelines, and what are the websites, and I have a PowerPoint presentation with the links that you can just click onto in my Facebook group, which is the KP Bartlin group. So if you're wondering where can I find these guidelines, to check out my group and my video. The other thing I need to specify with the online guidelines is please, please, please don't follow Medscape up to date to a certain extent. Actually, it's okay. Your American family physicians online guideline. Those are all American guidelines. They're not Australian. So please make sure that you use Australian websites and Australian official websites when you're looking up for guidelines, like the RACGP, the PCH, the RCH, your South Australian guideline in obstetrics, King Eddie's in obstetrics. So those I've mentioned it all. And if you have any questions, do hit me up and I'll tell you where you can find them. All right. And then study partner. I can't stress how important it is to get a study partner because they keep you on track, they motivate you. Studying for the exam is quite boring. I found it very boring. I found it very hard to concentrate. After not studying for a while and after entering the workforce and working for a while, I found studying really tough. So, this my study partner really helped me keep me on track. And I, in fact, had two study partners, and it was good. When we took breaks, we just talked about random stuff, which helped us take a load off and also kind of de-stress and realize they're going through the same pathway. You know what I mean? Then, apart from that, you have I also the study partners also help you set a schedule and organize yourself as well. And apart from that, you also need to set a schedule and organize yourself. Make it a big calendar, make it an online calendar on your phone. Whatever it is, make sure you share it with your partner, your family, whoever's in the house, that they realize that they can't disturb you during that time. And that time is just meant for you. I did a couple of hours with my study partner in the morning, and in the afternoon, it was just me studying for whatever mistakes I made to read about the topics I didn't know much about. And at that time, no one was allowed to disturb me, and I did not make any calls to my family, nothing. All right. And in this, however, in this schedule, do incorporate a couple of holidays like your long weekends and things like that, where you can take a break with your partner and your family because you can't burn out. If you burn out, whatever you're studying is pretty much not going to be beneficial. So, now, guys, just like to hash that this is all based on my personal experience. I don't mean to offend anyone. So, again, just my opinion. So, there are people out there that have passed MCQ without a study partner, and hey, kudos to them, and that's really good. And if you're one of them, please do what's comfortable for you and what works for you. Okay. Um, Now, preparation. So, how do you prepare for the MCQs? So, we have already talked about the John Murtaugh textbook as a reference and the online guidelines that you can follow. And I've also talked about the MCQ and the annotated books. But apart from that, most of your exam, the chunk of your exam is recalls. And when I say recalls, familiarize yourself with the recalls, but they won't be exactly the same. So, someone might get what is the definitive test while you might get what is the initial test. So make sure you read the question properly, but you know all sorts of answer for that one question. So know your recalls really well. Where do you get them? You can get them on the Facebook group. There's an AMC exclusive group that I got it. Sorry, not AMC exclusive. The Amadex group that I got it from. I don't know if that's where people are getting it from still. I also got my recalls from the course that I had registered for. I did a 5-week course. Now, again, guys, the courses, they're meant to go through recalls. They're meant to stay up to date with the recalls. So that is a good place to get all your recent recalls. And I'm not saying this because I did a course. Again, there are people that pass without doing a course. So please make sure, do what works for you. And past candidates who have compiled material. So I'm one of those candidates that did compile a lot of my material, and I'm happy to share them. So do hit me up and I'm happy to share them. But I did do my exam in 2018. So if you had no recent candidates that have done the exam, do hit them up, see if you can get their content, and it might help you. There's nothing you can lose from it. Apart from that, how many months of the questions do I need to review? Well, I would say about 6 months if you've done a course. If you haven't, I would say about 1 year. So 1 year to 6 months is a good time. It's a good amount of recalls that you'll cover. Now, courses. Again, I just want to touch base just because people who are thinking of registering for courses, do check it out. There are a couple online. All right. They all have websites. They're private tutors as well. So hit them up. But just whenever you do find a tutor, make sure that they're a good tutor and they're up to date with their recalls. Okay. And so, what are the pros and cons about having entering a course or registering for a course? One, good familiarity with the recalls and the topics. Um, they keep you on track. There's a set time and schedule that no matter what you're doing in the world, that you will allocate that time just for studying. And it can also help you find a partner, a study partner. That's how I found my study partners. And it's a good place because they're going through the same thing, they're studying the same thing, and they have the same plans. And it helps to hash it out as well. Cons, it can be expensive and sometimes it can be repetitive. So some people find it very useful to go for an 8 week course and like that repetition a little bit so that it registers for them. For me, I didn't want it that long. I just wanted to get the gist, just an introduction and everything. So I did a 5 week course. So again, to do what works for you. All right. Now, FAQs. So some of the questions that I've recently got from candidates who have reached out to me is like, how long do I need to prep for? Honestly, it's depends on how much of the time you can allocate yourself. For me, I studied about 8 hours a day, so I did about 6 months prep. So that's how much dedication you do need. You can't keep getting distracted. How do I read the complete JM textbook? No. So all you need to do is use it as a reference. And if you don't know a particular topic, use the textbook to read. You don't need to read the entire textbook. All right. How many hours in a day do I need to study? In all honesty, we all study in different paces. We all have different techniques of studying. So remember, go back to when you studied for your medical exam and how you studied for it and how much time did you actually need. So think about that. I was one of those people that needed a bit of time. So I studied about 8 hours a day. It did drive me mad, but it helped. And can I work and study? In all honesty, again, my personal experience, I find it very hard. I get very exhausted from work, so I can't focus and study medicine again. Medicine at work, medicine at home, I can't do it. But there are people that are and very dedicated, and I admire those people. So see what works for you, and if you need that the financial support and you need to work, hey, do it. Just make sure that you're getting a good amount of work studying done, and maybe set your exam day in a way that you can study as well, and you know your content very well before you go for the exam. All right. Well, I hope this has helped you, and I hope this kind of gives you a starting point. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to ask me. You can put it in the comment section down below. I'm more than happy to answer. Now, guys, please do subscribe to my videos and please do ask me more questions. And if you like my video, please like it on my YouTube channel. Thank you.